Part 3. Creating notification conditions. A notification condition is a grouping of criteria that will trigger a notification protocol. These conditions may include a threshold exceedance, inactivity, a calibration certificate, low battery, or power outage. To create a notification condition, go under Administration and click on Notification Conditions. Then, click on New in the top right corner, and the window Create Notification Condition will appear. In the first field, enter the desired name for the notification condition. For example, here I will enter the name Test. Next, you can see that the condition is enabled by default, but you can disable it if needed. In the User Group field, click on the arrow to select the user group. All administrators of this group will then be able to modify that specific notification condition. For example, here I will select the ATEK Team group. It is also possible to activate an additional notification to confirm the closing of the associated alert, but it is recommended to keep this option disabled. Next to notifications, you can define one or more sensor notification conditions such as threshold exceedance, inactivity, calibration expiration, low battery voltage, or power outage, or gateway notification conditions such as inactivity related to low battery voltage, power outage, or network failure. Here is an example for creating a sensor notification condition. Click on Sensor Notifications. You can search for or directly select from the list the sensor linked to this condition. Then click on New Rule to add sensor rules. Click on the arrow in the first field to select the type of condition you want to configure. In the case of a threshold condition, you can choose if the condition is based on the sensor's actual value or on the average from the last hour. You may then select less than for a minimum threshold or greater than for a maximum threshold. Enter the threshold value, the unit will depend on the sensor type, and set the delay in minutes for exceeding the threshold. Adding a delay helps prevent false alerts such as frequent freezer door openings causing short fluctuations. When creating threshold conditions, make sure to select sensors of the same equipment type in the same condition. For example, group refrigerators together, freezers together, etc. For refrigerators, select the associated sensors, then, for example, add a threshold value rule of less than 2 degrees with the desired delay, then add a second threshold value rule of more than 8 degrees, also with the desired delay. You will then need to create a second condition for freezers, for which the values could be -15 and -25 degrees, for example. For inactivity, you can define the minimum inactivity period in minutes before a notification is triggered. For calibration certificates, you can specify the number of days before expiration to generate a notification, thus ensuring calibration reminders. For battery voltage, you can set the minimum voltage limit, with 3.6 volts being the recommended threshold, as well as the minimum duration at that voltage before a notification is created. Note that the closing threshold of the notification is set 0.2 volts higher than the opening threshold, to prevent false closures caused by voltage fluctuations. During creation of this condition, it is recommended not to link it directly to a notification protocol. Instead, use the option Add a recipient for daily reminders. When an external power supply is interrupted, you can define the minimum outage duration in minutes before a notification is generated. As you may observe, by default, rules will apply every day, at all times if no additional scheduling options are configured. In the case of a threshold exceedance, you can also check the option Check Value Plus or Minus Calibration Uncertainty so that it is factored into the rule. Part 4. Advanced Settings Options and Saving the Condition. With this option, you can configure the system to have different call lists by means of notification protocols depending on the time of the week. For example, one list covering business hours and another list covering off hours. By clicking on More Options for the selected rule, a new window will open for advanced settings. The first section contains the same information from the previous window. The next section allows you to define a specific notification period for the rule. Selected days are displayed in blue. The Schedule section is used to specify hours of enforcement. For example, for notifications only during business hours, uncheck weekends, remove S&S, and enter the hours such as 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. in the Schedule fields. Click Save afterward. Scheduling management helps direct notifications to the personnel available to respond to alerts. It is important to cover all time slots with notification conditions. Ensure that you have a notification protocol for each time period, for example day shift, night shift, and weekend, if applicable. The correct recipients should be selected according to the notification conditions schedule. Based on this information, search or directly select from the list all the notification protocols that should be contacted in case of an alert. Again, a single condition can include multiple protocols, and vice versa. Once the protocols are selected, it is possible to click on Protocol Preview to view all the contacts that will be triggered if an alert occurs. Next, by clicking on Add a recipient for daily reminders, you can enter an email address to receive a notification if an alert is still open from the previous day. This function can also be used independently, without linking protocols to the condition as recommended earlier for low battery cases. Finally, click Save to record the notification condition.